What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by the man himself, Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am. I was trying to do the uneditable audio, but I can be heard clearly. So just trying to move that stuff out the way. Sometimes you feel like there's something in the way. You got to just move. Ludicrous know what I'm talking about.
Something in the
I'm
way of your
definitely.
audio?
Yeah. You got to move it. You got to move it so you can be heard clearly. Project so you can move.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly, Spider?
Yes, I can.
Understanding I'm infinitely awesome, sir. Thank you for asking. How are you doing, Noah? How are you doing?
I'm good. I am good. A little
I know it
confused,
was
but I'm
in
good.
a way, right? Well, it's okay. We're in confusing times. Bruce Banner told us this. Well,
This,
whoever he is now,
very
Mark
true.
Hall, Doctor Banner.
Is that what
I
he
don't know
said?
his alien. Yeah, when he was in the diner with Black Widow and Captain Steve Rogers and Ant-Man. This was in Infinity War when Tony Stark told him, "No, not doing your time heist." And they said, "We need to find another big brain."
Ah, I forgot about that line.
It's okay, man. A lot of people did until right now. But they remember
That
it.
is true. That
Welcome
is
to the
true.
future.
Welcome to the future and welcome to All Things Super, where every week we take
Got
a
him.
piece of superpower movie,
Got
TV
him.
show, even trailers.
So
We
smooth the
watch them,
transition.
we react to them, we break them down, we review them, and we ask the question, is it super?
It's like invincible. You never know when that intro's gonna come in.
You never know. Got to keep you on your toes. But just remember, if you like that, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the
Yeah.
audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
Hey, do this. Leave a comment. We'll read that thing. Spider, do you
Yes,
know what we're reviewing right now? You know, I mean, I know, clearly you know.
I
You
know.
thumbnail.
You know.
So
Yeah, they saw the
I
thumbnail,
know.
so they know.
Oh, then let's go.
It's, we're talking about
Let's go.
Novocaine,
Here we go.
2025 film starring Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, Jacob Batalon. So we got some heavy hitters.
Yeah, we do.
We know
Yeah, we
Jack
do.
Quaid from The Boys. We know Amber Midthunder.
He's
She was in
also
Prey.
he's also Mr. Quaid's son.
Also Dennis Quaid's son, yes. And we know Jacob Batalon
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the
Put some respect.
Spider-Man trilogy, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Also, he was in Infinity War and a little cameo in Endgame. But, you know, Mr. Celebrated in the MCU, Jacob Batalon. But we have a very
Dude,
interesting premise for
he was
Novocaine.
he was he was the guy in the chair.
He was a guy in a chair. He didn't
And he did
say it.
not want to be the
He
guy in the
called it
chair.
something else. Yeah, he called it something else.
Dude at the desk.
Yeah. No, that was Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That was Harry said I could be your dude at the desk.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So what did he say?
I can't
He
remember,
was
but he was
he
very
didn't
against it.
want to be, yeah, he didn't want to be that at all. He reminded me of Miles Morales' roommate. He's like, nah, if I call the cops, it's gonna
That's gonna
start to leak.
implicate me in all of this.
As you wear my J's,
Yeah.
my God, I need you to stop.
Like, you really gonna
But
steal
yeah,
my shoes and don't even want to help me out just by calling the
he
police?
won.
Like,
He was
dude,
probably playing his police station too, because
probably.
Sony. In fact, it was his PlayStation. He's a horrible roommate. Miles had that PlayStation, obviously, the first iteration. It's a
Yeah.
Sony movie. I know he had it. So, for you guys that don't know too much about Novocaine, I attempt to give y'all a quick rundown. So, what's the character's name?
The character's name is
Doug.
It was Nate.
It's Nate.
Yes.
So Nate, we start out, we see Nate waking up, and Nate lives a very
Careful.
accident prone,
Very careful
yeah,
life.
very safe life. He has tennis balls on the door handles. He's had like all his corners kind of.
Yeah, all his corners covered.
It's
He
kind of baby proof. The house is baby proof
yeah,
for an
you could
adult.
say it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he has a condition. We find out that Nate has a condition that his body can't feel pain of any sort. So he lived in a protected life since his parents found out this as a kid. Um, he stepped on a nail and he didn't know he stepped on the nail because he couldn't feel the pain, and sock was in his blood was in his sock and
Yeah,
in
he
his
said
shoe.
until his shoe filled with blood. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Congenital insensitivity to pain with anhydrosis is what the medical term for the condition is.
So it's a real term.
Yes.
Hopefully it's not as extreme as this, because if I had to classify this movie as anything, it would be extreme. I think that's a good depiction of what's going on in this
Yes.
movie. So now that he has this condition, he lives his life. He doesn't even eat food. He blends it up
Yep.
because he's afraid that if he bit his tongue, he wouldn't feel it and he'll bleed out.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a bank manager. He's assistant bank manager
Yes.
at the bank, and then he sees Sherry. Cherry? Is it Cherry or Sherry? It's Cherry.
Sherry. Sherry.
Cherry.
Sherry with an S.
That's how you spell it. So he sees her at the bank, and at first I thought she was just a customer, but then you find out she actually works there.
Yeah.
And he has a crush on her. He's been crushing on her for quite some time.
I want to say a few months because I
She,
don't think she's been there that long.
no, she has not. But I got to step out of the description for a second, Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to bring notice to this. This premise of guy meets girl, guy falls for girl, guy does whatever he needs to do to get set girl, even if it's going across the world or chasing her or fighting Scott Pilgrim's, elite
Seven
fighters.
evil exes and all that other stuff.
Right. Any situation where it's that premise, the meat and potatoes inside of the situation has to be sold that you believe that the guy and the girl are meant for each other. That's a match. You can see it. I will say this positive thing about this movie. Will it be the only positive thing? Let's wait and see. I will say this positive thing about the movie. I feel they successfully did that, giving you the chemistry that wasn't overly too much, and it wasn't leaving you thinking, I don't see it, nah. Because going into this movie, after seeing the trailer, I think we even reviewed the trailer. It's like, yo, your boy Whip, like he the new he the new Drake and T Pain, like he doing all this for a girl, man. Like he just met this girl, he just met her, and after watching the movie, you know what happened. So he got a little bit of that. Hey, all right now. So even more motivation. You see, the man was in his office kicking up his feet. If you don't nail that, your whole movie is done. If you don't nail the convincing part of why that person is invested so much in this relationship or in this situationship, friendship, partnership, whatever the situation is, you're done. It's over. You're done. Go check out Disney's Up and figure out what I'm talking about. If it was not for that opening scene of them being together, planning a life together, makes it hit that much more when she passes, when she's unalive, and then you see I'm doing this for the memory of her. Oh man, we're invested.
Right.
And here comes the annoying kid. You know how we feel about annoying kids.
But I mean, at least in that regard, you have the montage of years passing, whereas this was what, a day. This it was
First of
it
all,
took all of
hey,
a day for him to, I won't say completely abandon his lifestyle, but he definitely relaxed a lot after a day.
yes, but at the same time, you never experienced this.
Yeah, no, no,
So
no, no.
this is
I
this is world
absolutely,
changing for you.
yeah.
And it was more like, yes, that could happen because the stuff that he's saying can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the likelihood of it not happening is kind of like where she's at. So it's like, just try the pie. So he meets Sherry and they go on a date because he was talking to a client who was losing their shop, and he was trying to he refinanced his house, but he was going to lose his shop, so he's trying to. Nate was trying to help. It's Nate or Nick? It's Nate, right? Nate
Nate,
was trying
yeah,
to help the
Nathan
guy save
Kane.
his house, but in the process, he was saying how he lost his wife and how much that was devastating for him. But he wouldn't turn it back because he was so much in love.
Mm-hmm.
Again, compelling reasons for him to abandon the call to action because it's like, no, I got this condition or I'm not going to do it, which we don't know at that current point in time. To, yes, I will I will take this on. I will try. I will open myself up to this opportunity because Sherry came in and said, "Hey, let's. I owe you a shirt because I made you waste coffee on your shirt." And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Nah, I'm good." It's like, "Your hand, nah, I'm good." It's like, "I could do, nah, I'm good." It's like, "All right, well, I'm out then. Golly, you ain't got to shoot it down like that." But then he thought about it. It's like, them shorts, that backside. Something happens, right? I can't say exactly what he saw, either the front or the back, but I do say in casting, they did an excellent job because she had the appearance of the doughy eyes and just like the innocence, the
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it was much about innocence. I mean, yeah, she's an attractive woman, and I can see where Nathan's character can look at her and develop a crush because clearly he's introverted. He's not trying to put himself out there to pretty much anybody except Roscoe, who is Jacob Batalon's character, and they game online together.
mm-hmm.
And as long as he's in the
Yeah.
comfort of his
Well,
own
they never
home,
even met at that point.
yeah, they hadn't met each other. But he's admiring her from afar, and it's not
Right.
until
Sounds stalkerish.
I wouldn't call it a
The
stalker because it's
difference.
not like he was following her home or anything like that.
Oh,
He was pining after her every time he saw her at work.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
Fine. Yeah, that's a good
he did stare a little creepily. But this
longer
is
than 6 seconds. I know that.
but this is the person who, for most of his life, if not all of his life, did not have a lot of human interaction and human contact because, as he said,
Besides getting beat up, yeah,
when his parents found out about his condition, they homeschooled him, they kept him
locked
away
them up.
from, they basically put him in a bubble so he wouldn't get hurt. Um,
Oh, I just thought of that. Spider this Bubble Boy remix.
no, Bubble Boy had a different condition. Bubble Boy had a immunity condition to where if he got sick, it would kill him. So he couldn't interact with the outside world, or else he would die.
Yeah.
Um, but
Sucks to be you. I'm sorry.
but no, it is somewhat understandable because if you spend your life not having any interaction with people, and then you finally have somebody who shows interest in you, you sort of just lose all of your precautions
Mm,
because you humans are a social species and we
mm,
crave
that's factual.
that interaction, or we crave the pleasure of knowing that there's someone who takes like solace in knowing us or wants to be our
Yes.
friends, who wants to be
Yes.
around us. That makes us as
Definitely.
a species feel good, and so knowing that Sherry wanted to be around him. She was asking him out, like, hey, I can at least take you out to lunch. If you don't want me to get you another shirt or, pay for your coffee or get you another coffee, at least, let me take you out to lunch or something. So he's like, okay. After initially being like, no, I brought my lunch, because he's not trying to put himself in a position of, now I have to tell her exactly about my condition and deal with the pity of like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then being treated with kid gloves around everybody who he interacts with. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want to put that burden on people. So it's understanding how he can go from, oh, I'm just trying to stay away and keep myself safe, to now he's
Mm-hmm.
like 100% all in, head over heels, is like, because he's not had that connection with anyone before. And we're on the
I think that
outside looking in, and it's like, okay, this is kind of sketchy. You have somebody who you hadn't really had a conversation with before, so now all of a sudden you, not only are you fully invested in them, but they also seem fully invested in you. And like you said, they played it off real well, because when we get to the scene of
twist.
them getting intimate with each other and
Uh-huh.
learning more about each other, and we see that
Uh-huh.
she was an orphan. She was bouncing around to different foster homes. She had a
Facts. You have
habit
scarred.
of cutting herself, and
Yeah.
so he can relate in the sense of, nobody knows who you are unless you choose to tell them.
That
And
part.
we all have these parts of ourselves that we're hiding from everyone, because when we see that he has a tattoo on his arm, we're like, oh, okay, Nathan got a little, he got a little
Got
ink.
an
But then
ink.
when he takes
Got
his,
an
his
ink.
shirt off and is like full, well, almost full chest, full back, full arm sleeves, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So clearly
Makes
we know
sense.
we know nothing about this guy. And so when he was
Yeah.
saying that, he was
There
like,
was a
oh,
lot of that.
right.
I
And he
felt
was
like
like,
there
I
was a
just
lot
picked
of
it
that.
up. I learned about it. And it was just, and as someone who has tattoos, I can imagine, because you get into a rhythm when you're getting a tattoo to where it's not necessarily painful, but it's just kind of, you feel that pressure and you just kind of like ease into it. So for someone who
Mm.
can't feel pain and they get into that pressure, it's almost like a massage at that point. And
Yeah.
everything else that he's dealing with in his life, I can see that being like cathartic, and him finding some peace in that, just that rhythmic motion of the needle across his skin. And just the entire like story of everything that he had on his body, it gave you that introspective look of everything that he's been through within his life without having to actually see all of that. And then with the books that he's had, and she's like, have you read all of these books? And he's like, well, when you can't like just go out and be in the world, you have to
Facts.
find some way to occupy your time. And it just gave
Facts.
that context as to how he's knowledgeable about certain things, how he knows how to do certain things, how he knows how certain things work, because he just spent his life educating himself about certain things. He's the cop got shot in the leg, and he was like, okay, well, I
You
know that
know
I
how to
need to
do a
apply a
tourniquet.
tourniquet. I need to take my belt,
Right.
cut off the blood flow, so that way this officer won't lose his leg. Um, but so yeah, the premise of who Nate was as a character and that foundation of the connection that he and Sherry had, yeah, I would say that was done pretty well. To
Had to give it
not
to him.
to not have it to be like, this is ridiculous. Like we were saying with the trailer, it's like, oh, he's just whipped. He finds a pretty girl, and then
That's
now
a
all of a
that's
sudden
the
he's just,
power of the TUSS. God, I'm just trying to tell you what it is.
yeah. But we get to see that there's levels to it. There is deeper than
Oh, there's
just
always levels to it.
it's deeper than just an infatuation with a person that I saw from across the room.
Thank goodness for that. Because again, if not for that, all of it fails. So it pretty much introduced him to new experiences, new ideas, new mindsets to a point now that he's starting to, I seen him eat a lemon. Or that's wild. But he didn't bite his tongue. And that's what he was checking for. He didn't bite his tongue. He's now bleeding. So he's getting more relaxed in the idea of this is good for me to explore and test things out and still be careful,
Mm-hmm.
which is so funny because they didn't put that in the trailer. I mean, they put that in the trailer. Didn't put it in the movie when they told him hey, you need to be careful because you could
You
still
can still
die.
die. Yeah, I felt like that was something that should have been
Said,
said in the movie because I felt like not that it needed to be said. Well, no, I think it kind of did need to be said
it
because
needed
they're
to be said.
making him out to be so because I mean they did say because she was like, oh well, you have a you're a superpower,
Yeah,
and it is, but then it isn't
yeah. They
because
immediately make sure you understood. Nah.
yeah, because if I get shot, I may not feel it, but I lose enough blood. Yeah, I'm gonna bleed out and die just like anybody else. So it was interesting that the way that everything played out, it was still. I mean, they chose to acknowledge it at some points
Right.
because he did get shot and he got stabbed and he got his hand
The funny
fried.
thing about it, look how they did it. He got shot. We didn't even know.
Right.
So it's like that's what it would fit like. You don't even know. Oh shit, I'm shot. Now, since we're talking about the shot, whew, Friday, this movie was a movie that me and my boys got so close because I can't see how you don't. Every almost every scene was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, the glass, oh, like oh, it was sheer the. I won't call it gore, but it was wrenching. It was just
No, it was gory. It was very gory, and I did not.
the arrow through the neck.
I didn't consider because of the premise of the movie of somebody who can't feel pain because we saw in the trailer he put his hand in a
In
deep
a vat,
fryer.
yeah, in a deep
We
fryer.
saw him hold the hot skillet and all the other kind of stuff. So it's like clearly they're going to put him in situations that would be painful, but
Yeah, put
for
him in those
him
situations.
to
Put us in.
do it to other people, that I guess wasn't what I was expecting. The type of pain that would be inflicted upon other people. But yeah, it was definitely a very gory and gruesome movie.
So let's back up a little bit. So we at the bank. Sherry's at the bank. The date went well. He got him some PUSS. I can't believe it's not butter. Um, and then the bank gets robbed.
Right.
Robbers come in, blast the bank manager head straight off. Just no reason they had to kill this man. They kill this man, but it takes the movie to another level because now the stakes have risen.
Mm-hmm.
We need the code. We got to get in the bank. We're going to kill everybody who, well, we could kill the manager and the assistant manager is next. The manager is not giving up the code. He died not giving up the code.
Right.
But we looked like we was about to attack Sherry because, we were concerned with Sherry. And then, we don't want Sherry to die. So we got to give up the code. Christmas has come early. The robbers are in the safe, just putting bags of money in a Christmas Santa bag because for whatever reason they decide to dress like Santa Claus. Listen, everybody wants a Christmas movie, okay? So Strider, don't be surprised when people dress like Santa Claus when it's not Christmas. I don't make the rules. All right, so now we got the money and we're on a run, but we need a hostage. For whatever reason, we yell this out and we say we need a hostage. Oh, tell her it's your lucky day. We're taking Sherry. Why are we taking Sherry? I have no idea because it would have made more sense to leave Sherry there. Just honestly, I don't just but they're robbers, they're bank robbers. Nobody ever said they were intelligent, so let's just keep
Right.
going.
And
So
they
now
did
they're on a run.
seem they did seem a little because what was Simon the one that was punching Nate in the face, and Nate, here's the thing, I understand you can't feel pain, but you get punched in the face, regardless of if you can feel pain or not, it's still gonna rock your brain. You're not gonna just get punched in the face and just be like, I'm still okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's still gonna have some type of impact on your cognitive abilities. It's going to rattle you a little bit. But Nate was getting punched, and he was just like, he's like,
Having
Sherry,
a
are you
pure
okay? Pow.
conversation.
Sherry, are you okay? It's like, seriously?
Trying to do a TED talk. What is going on, my guy? I know you can't feel it, but at the same time, fake it. God damn, he hit you in the face.
Well, no, it wasn't him getting hit in the face first. It was him getting hit in the stomach. So I guess, it's still, but it, you can't feel the
But he
pain. It's
feels
still,
pressure.
yeah, he still
Yeah.
feels pressure. So it shouldn't just be he can just shrug it off, and because a punch is not just painful because of the contact. It's your internal organs are getting brutalized. So even though you're just feeling pressure, it's still a lot of pressure. So you would double over because like you get hit in the diaphragm, that's gonna make you cough or something. I don't know.
Uh, uh,
But
uh.
he clearly I guess Simon saw that, well, as we are watching it, we take it
Uh-huh.
as the assistant manager is checking on Sherry. That's his. It wasn't until we threatened Sherry that we were able to get the combination out
Cold.
of the assistant manager. So clearly, he's not going to try to do something as long as we have Sherry. That's our bargaining chip. So that's the way we're seeing it as an
But
audience, not knowing what's going on.
yeah, of course. But when we're leaving, we didn't need Sherry to
No,
be
we
the
didn't.
hostage.
We didn't. And to us in that moment, it didn't make any logical sense. And then for them to go out and because the cops came early, right? They thought they had more
Yes, and
time
they
in
shot the
what they did.
cops up
Yeah.
just willy nilly. So I don't know what plan that was. Anytime you shoot a cop, I can guarantee you, you're not making it home. I
No.
can guarantee you that.
And
You
had they not kidnapped Sherry, they would have been fine and they would have got away with it.
not the brightest team. So here we go. Nate's like, oh no, after he comes to because
Yeah.
he got knocked out. After so he can get knocked out. So he comes to, and he comes outside and he sees the cop that was shot, like you mentioned before. Puts a tourniquet on him, and the cop's telling him, "Hey man, don't do it." Like the cop is shot,
Yeah.
and he's still saying, "Hey, don't do it.
Cause
Don't do what you're about to
because Nate
do."
saw his gun on the ground. So Nate looks at the gun, the cop looks at the gun, the cop looks at Nate, he's like, don't do this. Don't do
Don't do
it.
what you're about to do, dude. And they like, I gotta power the PUSS. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Took the cop car. Now you're driving down the street. Now the feds are involved because it's a bank robbery. It's over the
No,
minimum amount. The feds
that was
are.
still the police department. Those were just detectives.
I thought that was the feds.
No, it
Yeah,
was
you're absolutely right.
just detectives from the local police precinct.
Now, the funny part about it is, I forget the detective names, but the
It
male.
was Langston and Duffy.
Which one was the male?
The
Langston?
male was
Duffy.
Duffy.
Duffy is hilarious. Duffy is
Duffy
hilarious.
is over this. Duffy is like, it's Christmas. I want to go home. I don't have to deal with all of this.
And his jokes were just hit. They were hit after hit. And then you took Duffy out. Then you take Duffy out. It's serious now. Which way are we going? Movie? Are we a comedy? Are we an action? Are we a drama? Which way are we
All of
going?
the above. All of the above.
And it gets heated because makes her get hit too. She's hit. All because the first, let me back up a little bit. They're trying to talk to Nate because clearly they got his profile now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cop on the scene breaks it down for him, and they don't see a history of violence. They don't see a history of because the first officer who was in on.
Yeah, the first thing they get is witness testimony. They're like, we saw the guys come out in the Santa suits, but it was the assistant manager that opened the vault for them or gave them the combination to open the vault. And then before we even got like hostage rescue or anybody to come out to check on the people in the bank, he had already left in a cop car. So they were thinking, okay, clearly he must be in on it.
Double cross.
Working at the bank, he must have cased it. He knew when the best time, right around Christmas before bonuses go out. That's when they hit the bank, and then they all leave together. But they make it seem like, okay, well, he's not with us because he left after. But it did seem suspicious that he left at all, rather than stay behind, give a report as the assistant manager, because the manager is dead now. The bank is now your responsibility.
It is the power of the PU. My eye. That's all. That's all I'm letting y'all know. It's powerful. It will do things to you. It'll make a man cry. Seen it happen. Seen it. Seen it with my own 3 eyes.
But so he takes off to go after the bank robbers. They are in 2 separate cars. 2 are in one car, and then the third is in another car. And they split because they think because Nate stole a cop car and he has the sirens on, and the cops are after him. And so he has to make a decision of who to go after. So he goes after the one guy that's in the car by himself. But he really wanted to go after the car that had Sherry in it.
SSI.
But so the rest of the movie is Nate pretty much trying his best to track these guys down so he can find Sherry. And these are military trained bank robbers. These are people who were dishonorably discharged from the military for whatever reasons. They're not good people.
They shot cops in cold blood. They shot a bank manager in cold blood.
Yeah. But
if you have other reason to not root for him, that they think they shot at Nate too when they thought he was a cop.
Yeah.
Clearly no fucks given.
It should not have been as easy. Well, I can't say it was easy, but I don't feel like Nate should have won any of the fights that he was in. As a person who had lived their lives in such an introverted way. I mean, you can read all the self-defense literature, you can watch YouTube videos and all this other kind of stuff, but being
like
in
this.
But being in that
don't you see those YouTube videos where they say if somebody grabs you, you do this, and they do the reenactment? It's like, stop being stupid.
Right. It's like if somebody pointing a gun at you, you have to reach for the gun in this way, but lean out of the way, and then somebody actually going to try it and they just get shot.
Yeah. Like I did exactly like you said. You see me up here too. I'm in heaven too. Clearly it didn't work.
But no, the 3 fights that he got into with these guys. Well, 4 when you count the tattoo artist.
Oh my goodness.
Shouldn't have worked out in Nate's favor. Because I mean, it was all just circumstantial, right? Because the first guy he got in the fight to, who was Ben, they're in the kitchen, and
he was getting his ass whooped in the kitchen.
He was, until he was able to get the gun out of the fryer, which I don't know if it would still work properly.
If it would work, it would explode in the fryer because the heat would make the
it would explode the rounds in the because I mean because it would ignite. Because so the way that the gun works, you pull the trigger, the hammer hits the pin hits the back of the bullet, which ignites the gunpowder inside of the shell, expels the round. So I don't know if just heat or if the fryer was hot enough to ignite the powder inside of the cartridge in order to explode the round inside the gun. I don't know.
We don't know the firearms expert. We do know that crazy man character stuck his hand in that vat to get the gun.
He did do that,
and still
shot him right under the chin after he tried to dome him with a bag of flour.
That was funny because you're in the kitchen. You have to have a flour scene. No, Spidey, you're right. He shouldn't have won any of those fights because he never said that he was a fighter, and I can't see how he good fight at all, even though it wasn't like he was going toe to toe, but at the same time, he don't know how to fight. So how? And he's talking about military trained guys. They shouldn't
Yeah,
have
his
just
his
off of
his
straight hand to hand combat shouldn't have won.
his reflexes were a bit too good for somebody who never really got into a fight.
Mm. So he finally catches up with the guy. They have the fight. He ends up accidentally killing the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Accidentally, because he was really just trying to get the directions to where Sherry is, the
Right.
hideout, because he didn't care about the money at all. Come to find out, the guy was running from Nate because he thought he was a cop
Mm-hmm.
and left the money in a car. Nate comes back after killing the guy and takes his car. And the money is in that car.
Yeah.
Hey, if you didn't look like you were suspicious, guess
You
what?
certainly didn't know.
You got a dead guy that was in the crew and you're riding off with the money. Nah, not a double cross at all.
So the cops are looking like, okay, is this some type of internal falling out? Did they have some type of conflict? And now the guy in the suit is on the run, but this guy is dead. And so this is when we find out that Nate got shot. And so he goes to see the older
Well, you got
gentleman,
to tell him
Earl.
the other part as well. The part where the cops call him and he just answers his phone.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like,
And
hello, this is Nate.
he was like, I forget his name. Duffy was like, he's not going to answer his phone. He's running from the cops. Why would he answer his phone? And Langston was like, oh, you want to bet? Like, yeah, I'll bet. It's just like, no way this guy's going to answer his phone. Answered on the first ring. Hello?
This is Nate. Just to give you confirmation, let you know it's me. And then they have the conversation that like, what are you doing? You need to turn yourself in. And he's like, no, I know how you guys operate. And Sherry's in danger. By the time you get to her, she'll be dead.
Yeah, because what he said, if the kidnapped person is not found within the first 36
3
hours or
hours.
something like that.
3 hours.
Oh, 3 hours. Yeah. Then they may not live.
So he's hot on the pursuit. And then, he drives it home because it's like, do you have a daughter? I mean, do you have children? I have a daughter. And what would you do if she was kidnapped? Would you wait?
Would you wait or would you do something about it?
And hit her. She had to accept it as like, you're right. Do it your way. She didn't say it, but she should have said it. Just know, we coming.
Right, we coming for you.
we coming. We on that ass. You only have a limited amount of
time. Clearly, we know who you are. Clearly, we know how to get in touch with you. So it's just a matter of time before we track you down.
They already traced the phone. They own it. They're on it, and they coming. And he knows he's running out of time, but it is at that point he does go to see his friend, and he realized that he has been shot. That was very character defining. The fact that he gave him that money for the loan, to save his business in his house, and he was smart enough to say, "Hey, you might
want to launder that.
I want to launder that. You don't want to just take that straight to."
I mean, what else would he do? Just take it to the bank because he got to pay off his loans.
No.
You might want to, launder that.
You might want to hit a little smaller convenience store or something. Get them bills moving in circulation.
Right.
That's crazy though. That's crazy that, that's a big character's flip-flop, but at the same time, he's throwing it all out there anyway. He already thought about it before he made the decision because he was like, well, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? But it's like, you're into the thick of it now.
Yeah.
What?
There's no point. There's no point in you turning around because you've already
all go no stop.
You already because he gave the money away, which is stolen money. So he's aiding in. He's an accomplice in a bank robbery at this point. He's killed a man. This
was his robbery.
It ended up turning out that way. Yeah.
He killed everybody. So yeah. And there's no trace of where the money went. They never went into that part.
No, they did.
They never said whether it was the brother's money or because the brother was trying to get his money and go.
Yeah, because they were trying to get him to what? Go to Mexico or something?
Yeah, like there's no extradition in Mexico. So again, not the smartest. You go to Mexico, they just go bring you right back.
Right.
It's not the smart. You got to go somewhere where there's no extradition, man. What are you doing? Anyway, so
Yeah, so he noticed the tattoo on Ben, so he took a picture of it, sent it to, I don't know what Roscoe does, but he sent it to Roscoe. He's like, "Hey, I need you to research this." Roscoe's like, "I don't be involved in your shit." Like, why
Yeah,
are
I
you
have no
calling me?
idea how you were able to track that tattoo because everybody's tattoo information isn't on a database. There's no natural national tattoo database that
Right,
has
and
everybody's tattoo.
especially if you are running, it's just like he was running the studio out of his apartment or something like that. The way you have somebody at the door to decide whether or not to let people in, I don't think you were going to be easily traceable for somebody to just go on the internet and be like, "Oh, I know where you got this tattoo from."
Right. Because that lady at the door, because the lady at the door put it online. That's
On the
it's
Instagram page.
started to get wonky. It started to get wonky. But he makes his way to the tattoo parlor and he finds out the guy's name was Ben, but
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have a last name. So he's trying to interrogate the tattoo artist.
Mm-hmm.
So the tattoo artist says, "Yeah, I know Ben." And then they go on to the story. It's like, "Yeah,
You know his
what's
last name?
what's Ben's last
He
name?"
was like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "How would you pronounce it?" He's like, "Why don't you say it first?" Because clearly
Yeah,
he's not being subtle at all. You're
at
com-
all.
you're coming into this tattoo artist place who seems like he's a type who only operates off of a specific clientele,
Clientele,
and
clearly. Only not
he's kind enough to take you off of your word at first because you say that you know Ben,
right.
and then you just start asking all these questions about Ben. So you are coming off very cop-ish. Very
Mm,
like
mm.
this is not the type of conversation that just a regular person has coming into a tattoo artist shop.
But we're not supposed to feel bad for him because he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to not cherish human life and say he got what's coming to him. But
Got his
Nate,
eyes
oh
scratched out
man,
and then just scraping his neck up with the tattoo gun.
with that two gun, oh my God, you could have at least drew something worthwhile. I thought you were an artist.
I mean, at that point, it's just he's just operating off of pure.
Puss. I can't believe he did that to that dude. He's
Essentially,
left him.
yeah.
He's like,
And here's
you got
another
what
thing
you
that I
want.
can't
Get out of
believe.
here.
He's literally on his phone. Roscoe is
Right.
giving him the address to Ben's
This the
house,
part. This the part.
and instead of him being like, repeat the
This the
address and
part.
just putting it into his phone because phones
That
have
part.
GPS,
That part.
he
He
tattoos
tattoos on his
he
hand.
tattoos the address on his hand, and it's literally only to serve as a dispute to when he's finally runs into Ben's brother, and he's like, his excuse is like, "Oh, it
I
was just
just
a
picked
random.
this
I
house
just picked this
randomly.
house at
I'm,
random to
I'm here
rob
to
it."
rob you. Yeah, I'm robbing this house, but
But
I'm
if
caught
you
in
pick
this
this
sad
house at
trap. I picked
random,
the
why
house.
is why is my brother's name and address tattooed on your hand?
See what
Clearly,
had
you're
happened
lying.
was, oh
But
man,
not him having the fucking Looney Tunes traps all set around his house.
yeah, who the hell lives that way?
Who, I don't know. It's just, and
They're not the brightest criminals.
the crossbow under the sink, the fucking mace hanging in the living room, the snare trap in the bedroom. Like, what did you? What were you expecting or trying to do?
Like, who's coming for you?
Right.
Is this your obstacle course? What is happening here? Are you X-Men training?
I don't know what he was doing.
Is that their dangerous room? All right.
But yeah, so the brother comes home, finds him hanging upside down. But this was after he called Roscoe to come and help him, which I didn't even realize that Roscoe was also, because they were what, in San Francisco, right?
Supposed to be.
Or somewhere in California.
That's true too.
Yeah, somewhere in
I'm
California,
gonna
whatever. Oh, San Diego,
say
that's where they were. They were in San
San
Diego. But
Diego.
being that Roscoe was only like his friend from online gaming, I would have thought that
Uh-huh.
Roscoe was like somewhere across the country or something,
I
or
thought that
somewhere
as
like
well.
Midwest, just
I
somewhere
thought that
not
as
in California. But for
yeah.
him to call him and be like, "I need you to come and get me," I'm like, is he that close?
The GPS says you're outside. I need you to come. Hey man, I was just walking my dog. Yeah, I need you to give me. I'm stuck in this house. Yeah, I
But
thought the online gaming usually you're talking to somebody that's not your neighborhood.
yeah,
So,
but
but
he
I
was
don't
close
know
enough to show up in what, like 10, 15 minutes or something like that,
what a biker hat on.
because he told he when they were initially talking before Nate went on his first date with Sherry, he was like, "Well, I'm not like you. I don't have a man bun. Or I don't ride a Harley, and all this other kind of stuff." All of
But she had
all
and
of the
bun.
lies that
He had no Harley.
Roscoe told Nate. And he was like, "Oh, you came in your Harley, right?" And he was like, "Well, he's just got a fucking moped."
Yeah, Harley is just a name. I named her Harley.
Right, that's what it was.
Named her Harley.
He was like, "I thought you said that you were like 6'4" or something." Jacob
Only
Batalon is
on
not very tall.
only on
Also, does not
imagination
have a man bun.
at all. We share similar
Yeah, we.
hairstyles.
But yeah. So Roscoe comes to
Saves his life.
rescue. Yeah, he
Saves
saves
his
his life.
goddamn life.
Uh,
Which there was no acknowledgement for that. Just want to throw that out there.
and then gets arrested for him.
Also, and they were just gaming friends.
And speaking of, like we were just talking about, how the lies of the height difference, the appearance difference, for them to just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give Roscoe my suit, my shirt and my suit jacket, and I'm gonna take Roscoe's leather jacket." There's no way in hell that Jack Quaid and Jacob
Mm,
Batalon are exchanging
mm,
clothes and
mm.
they fit properly. Like, I like the suit jacket, like he didn't have it buttoned.
No.
The shirt wasn't buttoned either. So it was a little bit, I mean, he wouldn't have fit in the suit. Like, he would have been like this, trying to wear
Yes.
Jack Quaid's suit.
Like, like he
But
got those Harley Davidson handlebars. So I feel like your arms don't ever get tired from doing this all day.
right. And then with Nate wearing Roscoe's leather jacket, it would have been like the sleeves would have been up here because
Talk
he's so
about it.
much taller than him. But it just fit him perfectly.
Man, it's called movie magic,
I
Spider.
guess. I guess.
You sprinkle a little dust like the Beetlejuice, and the clothes just start to shrink or grow. Little movie dust.
But oh, the way that he killed the brother, who was what was his name? Andre.
Mm.
Because he's in the kitchen, he gets shot in the leg with an arrow,
Oh my
and
God.
then he
Puts him in a leg
puts him
lock.
in a leg lock and then just shoves the arrow through his leg to where it
His own
goes
thigh.
his own thigh, to where it goes through uh Andre's head and then out the other side of his other leg.
Good times. Had by none. I'm telling you, Strider, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so much of this movie was like, oh,
And
like,
then all of the like the torture stuff,
oh.
it's a lot. It's a lot. This movie is not for the people who have weak stomachs or the faint of
No,
heart.
not for the week. No,
No,
no.
absolutely not.
The question that I have to ask you is the movie super? Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Here we go. Uh-oh. I saw the face change.
I don't think it was. To me it wasn't.
Oh,
It is.
oh.
I get the premise. I get the story that they were trying to tell. I understand what they were going for. It just it's one of those things where it's like it wasn't super for me, but that's not to say that it was a bad movie by any means, because we've
Okay.
seen some bad movies.
Yeah,
It
we have.
wasn't a bad movie. It just
Bottle.
it was just okay. It was okay for what it
Oh,
was.
okay.
They I feel like the the angle that they were going for in let's ensure that we have the audience know that this man can take some brutality, they
Mm-hmm.
got that point across very well.
Mm-hmm.
The practicality of it, I know we have to suspend our disbelief and all this other kind of stuff, but the if we're trying to make it make sense in the way that the movie wants us to make it make sense, there's no way that Nate should have survived as long as he
At
did.
all.
Just
At
by
all.
stitching himself up at one point, just by taking a shot of
Dude,
epinephrine a couple of times to get his adrenaline back up, you
you see
know.
how he put the super glue into the wall?
Yeah,
Into
that don't work like
it?
that. I
Oh,
literally, I was in the movie theater and I saw that. I was like, that's not how that works. You
it's not
still
sanitary
have
at all.
that's it's not going to stick that way.
At all. Massive bleeding. Like, who taught you this?
Yeah, but
Books don't do shit.
I it like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. I can't say that I would go and see it again, but it's to me it's not super. I don't think it's super. I think
Mm.
it's enjoyable enough. Jack Quaid is still likable. He is very endearing. I feel like that's just the type of characters that he plays, the kind of the introvert, the nerdy looking guy, the guy who doesn't have all of the life experiences,
Hey,
still
listen,
very
you can say
naive.
he's Huey from the boys. He's
He
Huey
really
from the
is
boys.
He's Huey from the boys if Huey was able to not feel pain.
Yeah.
Um
Listen, when they killed the guy, what did he do? He threw up. When he killed the guy and the boys, what did he do? He threw up. The
yeah.
parallels are there. You can't not see them.
Right. And so like we said, the attraction and the romanticism between Nate and Sherry, we understand it. It's still very extreme, the lengths that he would go to chase after this woman after only like really getting to know her for a day. But you
I
know,
need to get your PUSSI
they
so I
preface
can
it
claim
with
all my taxes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
they preface it with that connection as to them trying to get to know each other, and we can see why Nate is so
Well,
basically love struck by
oh,
her
okay.
to
That
where
was a nice way to say it.
yeah, but to
That
the
was a
where the
very
point to where she's incarcerated and he's like, hey, I will wait for you to get out of jail and we
I'll
can
be your pen pal,
continue this.
girl.
But the thing
What?
about it is,
I'll be.
like, he got put on 6 months house arrest and then 3 years of probation.
Yeah, because he saved a cop
Right. No,
when her partner
I
got
understand. I understand the
killed.
sentencing, but what I don't get is what did he do? Because I'm pretty sure he lost his job. I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah,
not assistant manager at the bank anymore, but he's
I
still
can
living in his.
guarantee you that.
He had a pretty nice apartment, and
Assistant
so
manager at the bank, yeah.
I'm just wondering how he was able to keep that after now he has a criminal record.
Well, they don't put you out until like later on, but I'm pretty sure you got some of that money stashed somewhere. He was already giving it out, and he
True.
already told you you might want to launder that, so it's not like he's not gonna take his own advice. But I appreciate that, Nate. It's like keep it 100. Like I hate movies that have people in situations there's a surplus of money and they never take it because they're so honorable. So now you're
Mm-hmm.
honorable, but the circumstances are still shit when you had the opportunity to skim off something off the top
I
and
mean,
fix your
yeah, because I would imagine that he would have had to return the majority of it if he did skim some off the top. But I mean, I feel like it
yeah,
would have
they
been
can't say,
investigated as to how much money was actually stolen versus how much they got back.
oh, it don't matter. Because no matter how much was stolen, it's triple that amount when you claim it on insurance. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well.
So they're not even worrying about that little money. All that money was insured. Nate just went out there for the power of the PUSS. And the money was insured. The money was insured. The bank manager died. Sherry was gone. And it's like, oh man, that's horrible.
Oh, we didn't
Let
even
me
get
call let
to
me
the
call
we
the
didn't even
police.
talk about the twist of the movie that Sherry was in on it
The whole time.
the
The
whole
whole time.
time.
The whole
Sherry
time.
Sherry's role was to butter up to the assistant manager so she could get the code
Uh-huh.
out of him.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a conversation that's going to come up on a date. So I don't know how her
Ever.
brother was expecting
Ever.
her to
And
get
that's the
that.
smartest
Like,
criminal.
we only went out once and you expect me to get the combination to the vote
That is
out of him on the first date?
clearly, clearly, he knows her rep. It's powerful. That's all I'm saying. But not that day.
No, not
Not
that
that
day.
day. It wasn't quite powerful enough that he was just going to blurt out the whole existence of his job
Just in
and
the
put it
middle
on
of
the
them
line.
kissing, he was just going to, oh, here's the number to the combination of the vote.
And you know the code 6543321, right? Because I'm Batman. You want to know my secret identity?
It's not that simple. Oh man. But
It is that comical.
Mr. VIP Frank of Washington,
All my life I've been him.
did you find Novocaine to be super?
Novocaine. No. Let me say that. Let me say this though. Even though I agree with you, it's not a bad movie. I think
Mm-hmm.
people should go and watch it. It's a good time for it to be on theme. It does that for you to enjoy it. Your suspicion of disbelief has to be gone. It has to for the premise of the movie. I mean, they even make fun of it themselves. It's like you just picked this house out randomly, but you got my brother's name and address tatted on your hand. It's like the stupidness of it aids into the movie. And I think they're aware of the absurdity of it
Mm-hmm.
and still decided to have a good time with it. They stayed on theme, and that's one of the big things that you need to do because when you're off theme, you're just all over the place.
Right.
So though it might not be Super Spider, it's a movie. It falls on one of those turn your brain off, let's enjoy the ride, kind of like a Crank or kind of like a Crank
Yes.
2.
It was very Crank like. It was very fine
Yeah.
in that, especially with the epinephrine shots. It was very like right out of Crank.
Yeah, definitely. Because, the effervescent shots is
Which I don't
you
think
know
that
how I
works the
feel.
way that they depicted in the
It
movies.
don't. It don't. It don't. It doesn't at all. But in the theme of the movie, sure, you need an adrenaline pump. Yeah. You don't have the girl to get with in the public and the nasty. But if you take a shot of this junkie juice, then you're up and about and you're running.
Because in Novocaine, he had got shot, lost a lot of blood because he didn't realize that he had got shot. So he's woozy when he went to go see the guy in his hardware store. And so he's like, oh, lost more blood than I thought I did. Hey, did you have an EpiPen in that first aid kit? And he just shoots himself with the EpiPen. And you're like, okay, good to go. Like,
Yeah,
an
that's
EpiPen is
how
not going to
blood
replace the
works.
blood that you lost.
It's not a blood. Where you think you bleed? You think that's your serum?
It doesn't work that way.
Stop. Dude, when he broke his thumb with the handcuffs, oh my god.
Also, not the way that people normally do that. Because I've seen like situations
People
where
dislocate the
they
hand.
dislocated the thumb. Because he just took his thumb and just went like that all the way out. Normally, you see people like get it at the joint and they snap it at the joint so they can close their hand and then just pull the handcuff off. But no, he just ripped it all the way back, and it was like,
And able to make it flex and work again right after.
yeah, I don't.
Because, you know. Now, one thing that I do understand and I appreciate them doing, once it was all said and done, they put his ass in a full body cast. This
Yes.
everything is broken. When what you call it was naming off the stuff, I was like, keep going, keep going, keep going. I know they got
Punctured
other
lung,
stuff.
6 broken ribs,
Keep
all
going.
these kind of contusions.
broken legs, your whole body, and it keep going. Like your time on house arrest, you were just healing. You couldn't
Pretty
go
much.
nowhere anyway.
Right.
You went straight out of the clearance from the hospital, go straight to see Sherry in jail. They didn't say how long she got, but oh no, she got like she had a couple of more months left,
Yeah, I think she had like
and it
3 more
had
months
already
left.
been a year. But I think she got like 2 years or two
Yeah,
and a half years.
something like that.
She didn't kill anybody, but she was implemented in the
She was an
crime.
accomplice.
I
But she
mean, you're right.
also she
And here
also
you
helped
got the
save the
best.
cops. So I'm sure they
Yeah,
they gave her
well,
a lighter sentence.
dude, what? How much do you gotta hate your sister to actually want to shoot her?
He he was
Not the smartest.
sadistic.
Yeah, he
He
was
definitely had some issues. There was some screws loose for Simon.
loose. See, he's just taken up
Missing,
and thrown
just
on the
completely
floor.
gone.
This dude was erratic. He was about to tear up his own crew, and he tried to have a cooler head, but I knew something was up when they panned to Sherry and she wasn't tied up, she wasn't in handcuffs. But though
Yeah.
she wasn't tied up and she wasn't in handcuffs in the back of the car, but how are we making sure that she doesn't try to get away and run away? When they panned to her and she wasn't tied up, I said, oh, she's in on it.
Yeah.
Nate doesn't know. And it was just sad after that because I was really rooting for the relationship because again they made it a point of contention to see that it is worth something,
Mm-hmm.
but then you still get it at the end. It's not a bad movie, Spider. It's not. It's just
No.
not super.
Because I felt like the ending was still very cute because they
This ain't no conjugal visit.
this ain't no conjugal. Like he's so mean. Like he's very intense. Like, well, yeah, he's a prison guard. He's supposed to do
Yeah.
that.
All right. He's like,
And
back up.
then they light the candles. He's like, I know there ain't no open flame.
Right? No, it's not.
He's
No,
like,
no.
you're trying to get thrown back. He's like, you're trying to get thrown in jail. It's like you
Facts.
in here breaking all the
Facts.
rules.
You know that you knew better. They told you can't have that. 15 minutes is up fast. I was like, yeah.
You're like, your time is up. You're like, don't make me come over there. He did give them a lot of leeway. That was a nice prison guard. He was like, look, I'm giving you warnings. Don't make me get serious.
Shout out to all the prison guards that said, you know, we
I
know
knew
what
they
y'all
ain't no
got to
open
do.
flame. It's like, dude, you
Oh, they
really
ain't no
gonna
open
try to light a
flame.
candle? You know?
Disrespect is real in this.
Oh man, but it was still cute. You know that their relationship didn't suffer because of everything that they had been through, and we could
It
see,
seemed genuine.
and we
It
can
seemed
see
genuine.
Nate still took a bite, and you know he was a little bit more comfortable with eating solid foods now. So we see that
Here's the question:
growth and
Do
development
we
in him.
see a Novocaine 2?
No, because the novelty is worn off at this point. Because what
They did
could
it
what
right,
could you
too.
do in a sequel that you didn't do in this movie already?
Not make it for me. For me, I threw the question out there, not thinking that it would get a yes, but it's not make it is perfect for me
Yeah,
because
no, because
again, this whole movie, I was like,
like, did we really need this?
oh my god, and I think that's what the intentions were.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the some of it was way over the top, but if that's what you're going for, I guess. Yeah, I don't need a sequel.
No.
Probably didn't need to see this. No, it's worth watching. I would watch it. I would watch it with somebody that's never watched something like that.
Because I mean,
Just to see
there was
how
still
they
some,
react.
like we talked about, some of the jokes still landed. They were pretty funny. There was the part at the beginning when they went on their first date. They were having a drink or whatever, and they run into the guy from Nate's middle school that called him Novocaine. And so, you know, he was like, oh, he has the alarm on his watch because if he doesn't set an alarm for every like 3 hours, he doesn't. And again, your bladder being full is still pressure. Just because you don't feel the pain, I think you will still know when you have to go use the bathroom, but whatever. So he goes to the bathroom, he comes back, and she's
wear a colostrophe bag.
Well, we don't have to go that far.
Not a colostrophe bag, but wear a urinal bag if you feel like that.
But he comes back from the bathroom and she's sitting at the bar with the guy and they're just laughing and she's like, oh, he's so funny and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, you're watching, it's like, damn, she gonna do Nate like that? and
like that.
and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, we should do shots or whatever. And clearly the bartender was in on it.
Yep.
And had him drinking what, like ghost pepper or
Hot sauce.
ghost reaper pepper hot sauce or something like that.
Yep. Diabolical.
I thought that was pretty funny. That was a nice little twist to prepare us for the big twist, I guess, later in the movie. But again, it made that connection for that relationship seem more genuine, because it was like, here we have a person who Nate opened himself up to, and she didn't treat him like, as a fragile piece of glass or something like that, right? Or a charity cage. She didn't pity him. She actually like felt more connected to him. So that actually set up that premise for that relationship, like you said, to be more believable as to why he was so infatuated with her. But yeah, so there were some nice funny moments. There were some good emotional moments, but the overall film of it was just okay.
Oh wow.
It was just okay.
Y'all let us know how y'all feel about Novocaine. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Do you want to see Jack Quaid in more things like this? Or do you want to see him try to go outside? Because I know he was in Oppenheimer too. And so Oppenheimer was, of course, a departure from this type of character that he plays. But do you want to see him in more stuff like this, or would you like to see him in more stuff like Oppenheimer, or just something completely different? Just let us know. Leave us a comment, but also let us know if you like this video.
Remember, we'll let Jack know.
Yeah, we'll give him a call. I know somebody that knows him, so we can figure it all out.
We'll figure it out. Hey, Jack, this came from the audience. We think you should go in a different direction with your character.
Exactly. But let us know if you like the video. Just remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to reach out to us on social media, just click the link in the description below.
You got one click, it takes you where you got to go, but you could just leave a comment right here and we can read it. It's not hard. It's not hard at all.
We can read it. We can discuss it. We can talk about it.
Or we cannot do any of those things because we got options, baby. We got options.
But it was definitely a movie.
It's a movie worth watching. Just you're gonna clench up a lot if you have feelings.
I mean, even because
if you can't feel anything.
Because even with some people who are not as affected with bone contusions and broken femurs and blood and gore and all that other kind of stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot to see.
It is
I will say, for the practical effects team, for all of the people that were involved in doing all the makeup and stuff like that, they did a pretty good job.
It's a good movie. It's just not super.
There you have it.
It's a good movie. It's just not super. I would watch it again, but it doesn't hit the heights of what some of the suspension of disbelief is too much.
Yeah.
And the tattooing on her hand, even though we brought reference to it, yeah, it's like, come on.
Yeah. Some of the choices that they made were questionable. It was like, regardless of the history of who Nate is as a person and everything that he's been through, he seemed like an intelligent guy, but some of the decisions that he made were of someone who's not of a higher level of intelligence. So it was just a little questionable.
He was smarter than the robbers.
He was smarter than the robbers. Very much so. It was enough for Andre, who was coerced, well, not even coerced, but convinced that he should torture him instead of just killing him and being done with it, because it seemed like he had no problems when it was all said and done to just try and kill him. But why not? Because he wanted revenge for him killing his brother. And
revenge is a dish best served done. Okay. get it over with. It's done.
And
Don't play with your food.
it's very true. Because again, like we said, the robbers were not that smart. They could have been done with all of this because the cops had no idea. I don't think even
Was
because
it
the only
wasn't for
reason they
Nate
found him
following
because they were
them.
going after Nate.
And the only reason that they were going after Nate because you took Sherry.
Exactly.
I'm done. I'm done, Spider. I'm done with. Done with. I take back what I said. I don't like stupid. I don't like stupid villains. No, I'm joking. Y'all should watch it. If y'all haven't watched it, go watch Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid. It is something to watch if you have nothing to watch.
It is
But
something to watch. Oh, but thank you all so much for joining us with this review of Novocaine. We hope to see you all back in the next episode. We will be back in the next episode, but just remember, until then, keep being super.